Just 7 days into 2026, and the world has already crossed lines no one expected. Our president captured, military strikes, core wave freezing the millions, political power plays shaking parliaments. What on earth is happening? That is not just a news. This is history unfolding in real time. You are watching World Knowledge, and this is your global breakdown from January 1st to 7th, 2026. Hi everyone, welcome to this channel World Knowledge. Today you are here to know about the everything that is happening in first week of January 2026. January 2026 starting with a storm, not just in weather but in world politics, war zones and power plays. From US strikes in Venezuela to Trump's bold Greenland claim, from Arctic tensions to UK political drama, the world is heating up fast. Stay with me for the full breakdown. So first of all, we will discuss about the most shocking news of this year. US strikes Venezuela. The biggest shock of the week. The US launched a surprise military operation in Venezuela, and guess what? They captured President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Yes, flown straight to New York to face charges. Trump calls it a victory, but critics are calling it an international crisis. So, who is leading Venezuela now? Trump says it's a message to dictators, but critics says it is a dangerous president. Next news is US sees oil and controls exports. And if that was not enough, US forces intercepted to Venezuela oil tanker in open waters. Trump says he wants to control their oil for security, but Russia and China, they are not staying silent. Next, Trump will not stop there. Trump and Greenland. Once again, Trump narrated about the Greenland. Guess who is back with the Greenland idea? Yes, Trump wants to buy it again, but this time he is talking military leverage, not real estate. Denmark's outraged. NATO's concerned. Is this just Trump being Trump or a real Arctic strategy in motion? Next news is UK politics heat ups. Meanwhile, in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer returning to the Parliament to face a grilling cost of living crisis, NHS, overwhelmed immigration, expounding, and the opposition in meltdown, with conservative rebels like Suella Braverman calling for a total party reset. Next news is the deadly cold wave in India. In India, there's a brutal cold wave hit northern states. Schools closed, hospitals flooded, and millions without proper heating. Delhi, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, all under freezing threat. Nature is not waiting for anyone this year. Next is the Ukraine front, and in Europe, a major move. The UK, France, and Ukraine signed a joint pact to boost military and economic aid. Ukraine war is far from over, and Western unity it's being tested like never before. Now we will see the global shift. Markets are shaken, oil is violent, borders are tense, and the world it's no longer the same place you left in 2025. This is a new chapter and it's already on fire. Now I'll explain the news in details. First of all, I will evaluate the news US military operations in Venezuela. On January 3, 2026, the United States launched a large scale military strike in Caracas, Venezuela. The operation was a part of Operation Absolute Resolve, intended to capture Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores. US forces bombed military targets and executed an elite forces extraction that resulted in Maduro and Flores being taken into custody and flown into the New York City. They will face the federal charges including necro terrorism and drug trafficking. President Donald Trump publicly announced the mission's success and released photos of Maduro in US custody aboard a US Navy ship. This marked one of the most dramatic US interventions in Latin America in decades. Now, Maduro in US custody and legal proceedings are there. After being captured, Maduro and his wife appeared in a federal court in New York where charges were presented against them. The legal process highlighted US intent to pursue them for alleged narcotics related and terrorism charges. Though the legality of such a military abduction is highly debated internationally, this situation raises major questions about international law and sovereignty. Venezuela leadership after the raid. After the Maduro removal, Venezuela Vice President declared herself interior president, rejecting the US claim that Washington now runs the country. Trump said that the US would oversee Venezuela transition until a safe, proper, and judicious transition could occur, including control over Venezuela oil supplies, a claim disputed by the vice president government. This resulted in a deep power struggle, Washington claim versus the vice president of sovereignty. Now we will see the casualties and reactions from the Venezuela. Venezuela's military reported that at least 24 of its military were killed in the US operation, with additional Cuban security personnel among the casualties. The total death toll from the operation was reported to be around 56, including some of the civilians. Now we will see the situation of oil sanctions and geopolitical impact. Trump announced intentions for the US to control Venezuela oil sales, aiming to receive 30 to 50 million barrels of oil and possibly lift some sanctions to facilitate this. US forces also seized two oil tankers linked to Venezuela from violating sanctions, including a Russian flagged vessel, underscoring the broader economic and strategic dimensions of US policy. These moves have intensified geopolitical friction with Russia and raised concerns among global energy markets. Now there will be the point of international and legal reactions. Experts and institutions have noted that the US military operations may violate international law and Venezuela sovereignty, with criticism from scholars and diplomats. Now the next thing is Trump Greenland. Trump and the Greenland. Trump's Greenland Proposal 2026 update. First of all, I'll explain the background of this proposal. This is not the first time Trump has brought up Greenland. He previously proposed purchasing it in 2019 during his presidency, which Denmark rejected. In early January 2026, Trump, now again in power, revived and escalated the idea, not just proposing to buy the Greenland, but hinting at possible military enforcement. What Trump said in a public statement on January 6, 2026. Trump said, Greenland is critical to America's security. We are prepared to do whatever is necessary to secure it for our interest. He called Greenland an asset vested under Danish control and described it as vital for Arctic military strategy, rare earth minerals, and oil exploration. Now, the next thing is US administration. White House officials stated that military options were not off the table, although they later clarified that diplomatic negotiations were being considered first. The administration views Greenland as a strategic counter to Russian and Chinese Arctic expansion. Denmark also responded on it, and Denmark responded strongly, calling the idea absurd and offensive. The Greenland government, which has home rule, said it had no interest in being owned or managed by any foreign power. Now we will see the reactions of NATO and global. NATO allies expressed concerns that the US to avoid aggressive politics that could destabilize the Arctic diplomacy. Russia and China condemned this idea, calling it that it's warning against the Arctic militarization. Strategic reasons behind these proposals. Greenland lies between North America and Europe and hosts the US Air Base, a key radar and missile defense site. Resources also said that this thing will create the great chaos on politics table. Although Trump announced that soon he will buy, but let's see what will happen next. Now we will highlight the UK politics details. United Kingdom politics in early January. Prime Minister Keir Starmer returns to the Parliament. The UK's Prime Minister and Labour Party leader returned for the first Prime Minister's questions of the year on January 3. Key issues raised included housing crisis and lack of affordable homes, cost of living pressures on families, support for Ukraine, and also NHS staff shortage and health services delays. Conservative Party leadership tensions. The Conservative Party, now in opposition, is experiencing internal rifts. Former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak remains influential, while others like Kemi Bandosh and Sola Brevmans are gaining ground as right-wing voices pushing tough immigrants and law and order policies. Immigration and border policy debate. Starmer's government faces pressure over immigration control, especially small boat crossings in the English Channel. Labour has committed to scrapping the Deventer deportation plan but has not yet presented a clear alternative, drawing criticism from both right and left. Foreign policy, Ukraine and NATO. The UK reaffirmed its strong support for Ukraine, signing a new joint declaration with France and Ukraine to back reconstruction and defense. Sturman emphasized a Europe first cooperation strategy, aligning closely with NATO and European Union partners on defense. If we see the economic outlook, the government is preparing the spring budget with expected announcements on greener energy investment, job creation, and potential tax reforms. Political landscape. Labour Party continue to lead the polls. Next general election is expected in 2029. So, her for the UK politics. Now next we will move to the our other news. Obviously, as you are here to know the world news. So there is the cold wave. Cold wave in India. Basically, the region affected in India are Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, UP and Rajasthan. All other regions like Bihar, Madhya Pradesh and Jharkhand also are little impacted under this cold wave. So basically, after this cold wave, the schools are shut down. The temperature are dropped down. Approximately, the average temperature is from 1 degree centigrade to, or in some regions, 3 or 4 degree centigrade. Schools closed in Punjab, Delhi, UP and other states. Multiple train and flight delays. Poor visibility caused road accidents on the highways. Weather warning. There are still weather warning from the weather department. Now next thing is Ukraine, France, UK joint declaration. In January 5, 2026, London. Basically, it was the trilateral security and reconstruction agreement between Ukraine, France, and the United Kingdom, aimed at strengthening Ukraine defense against Russian aggression, committing the long-term military, economic, and reconstruction support, reinforcement European unity around the Ukraine sovereignty and NATO allied future. What was the key points? Increasing the delivery of air defense, joint training program, and also the enhanced intelligence sharing on Russian military activities. Now, the next one is next we will see that how the world respond after these major dilemmas. So, world politics is no longer slow moving. It's rapid, raw, and unpredictable. Which headlines shocked you most of the week? Tell us in the comment section. 1 week is our next week. I will be here from the more national and international news. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye bye.